Welcome to True Crime and Wine Time. I'm Terry.
And I'm Llama.
Tonight, we are uncorking the truth behind one of the darkest crimes and breaking it down together with you.
One case, one conversation, and one or maybe two glasses of wine to take the edge off. It's time to get comfortable and double check those locks before we get started.
So let's take a sip and dive in.
Hello.
Hello.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Two shows in 1 week.
I know. What's happening in the universe?
Giving all the goods to everybody this week and for the foreseeable few weeks.
And for the foreseeable future.
You're only going to get more of us this month.
Right.
So.
I know, but like I just said off camera, we've been together every night this week so far.
That's true.
And I
mean,
love
while we do like talk every day, we don't
talk every day, but like we've been face to face on the camera.
I know. I love it. Yes, Lady and Gray.
Oh.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
Terry
you.
and I are going to be bringing the rants tonight and every night. So.
As I say, and every night going forward.
Yes. And I think you all will be joining in on the rants with us. I very much expect that.
Everybody needs to drop their rants in the chat. Even if you're watching this on part of the replay crew, we want to know your rants too.
Yes. Put them in the comments because I love reading other people's rants. I love it. And we do respond to the comments. One of us does. Somebody does.
Somebody does.
Well, you guys, though, before we begin, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss when we go live or drop an episode, because with this multi-series, we're going to be going out live like a lot on nights we're not used to going live. So definitely make sure you hit that bell.
I will. And if you're listening to this on the podcast apps, please download and leave a rating and review, as believe it or not, it helps our little pod get noticed.
It does. It does. And it's free.
And it's free, unlike us.
Well, you can also become a member on our YouTube channel, which also comes with all sorts of exclusive perks, including other shows that are just member onlys. All you got to do is click the join button and you can pick which tier works best for you. And like the lowest one is 99 cents. And it comes with a buttload of perks, quite frankly. A buttload. Yes.
I just went and let Jasper like our show. He gave us a thumbs up.
Oh, thanks, Jazz. Thanks.
Now, Llama, since you're the rabbit hole that caused us to be here, why don't you tell us what we're covering tonight?
All right. Well, tonight is part 2 of our Frozen Fear, the Butcher Baker of Alaska series, where we are diving deep into infamous serial killer Robert Hansen, his endless number of victims who we refuse to let be forgotten, and how all of it could have been stopped numerous times. This is where the rants come in.
Yes.
Now, I just want to say the state of Alaska has a lot of blood on their hands, and we are here to shine a light on all of it. It's truly unbelievable. Like, even if you know of Hansen's crimes, all of the other stuff isn't really well known or talked about, and it's like super important.
It is. I knew about Hansen, but I did not know how bad Alaska screwed the pooch.
A lot. And we're going to hear more of that tonight.
A lot.
And there will be lots of rants and lots of cursey words. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we're drinking tonight. Because you guys, if you don't have something to drink and you do drink, go get it now, because you're going to want it. I promise.
I know I'm sitting here going, I poured myself a glass and I was going to only stop at one glass, and I may have made a bad decision. But I'm sticking to my go-to, Josh Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh.
In my pink glass, trying to stay happy. But yeah, I'm going to have to text Double H and ask you to bring the bottle, I think.
Just bring the bottle. Hello, Spence.
I just have an early day tomorrow, 5 a.m. So I was trying to be a responsible adult.
Oh, that's gross. Don't like that for you.
Hi, Betty.
Well, tonight I am drinking. Again, it's green, so it's just going to disappear like that when I hold it up. I'm drinking Magic Hour Caramel Apple Moscato, which is pretty good. All right. It smells delicious. It tastes delicious. Alcohol content, not too terribly high, but let me tell you what, though, this would be perfect in the fall. Like, oh my gosh, October, like it would be absolutely delightful.
Okay, I'll have to mark that down.
Yes, it tastes like caramel, green apples, smells, tastes. It's really good. So I'm making a note that when it's fall time, I will be drinking some of that. But it's delicious.
Well,
So
I hope you're healing well. Since you can't have alcohol, it's okay to take the pain pill if they gave you one. And if they didn't, shame on them.
who are you talking to?
Betty Ross, she just said that she was recovering from dental surgery today and
Oh,
she can't drink alcohol.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see
Did you
your
just think I was having
comment.
a conversation with my imaginary friend?
I did. Yes. I mean, you've talked to me a lot this week. You're probably just bored with me.
And then I see that Lady in Gray has to get up at 3:30. Lady in Gray, that's insane.
Yeah.
Mine's at 5 and I am getting up at the last possible minute, so like 4:15.
That's true. She gets to be off at 9 so she can have a nap and then join us for watching Laura Owens tomorrow and Llama learns about and all those fun things. No fun drugs either. Boo. Boo for you, Spetty. Well, you guys, let's get into the story of tonight's case because this part 2 is going to be a little bit longer than our first one. We just wanted to leave it at a really good point. But in case you missed it, we're going to do a quick opening and recap, though, for you.
Yes.
So why don't you kick us off there?
In our last episode, we witnessed the impossible. We followed Cindy Paulson as she escaped the clutches of the butcher baker, running barefoot and handcuffed across the gravel of Merrifield.
Yeah.
Ouch. We saw the systematic failure of the Anchorage Police Department and met an investigator who chose to believe the alibi of a respectable businessman over the terror-filled testimony of a teenage girl. Shit, I'm already getting mad.
We're talking about you, Investigator Bill Dennis. We have not forgotten your bananery. But we also, even though Investigator Bill Dennis sucks, we also saw the spark of justice with Officer Greg Baker, who refused to let the case go, and Sergeant Glenn Floth, who looked at Cindy's statement and realized that he finally had a name for the shadow stalking the Alaskan wilderness. Now, Robert Hansen was no longer a ghost now. He was a suspect. Ugh. Love that when justice starts happening and karma.
But one has to ask, how does a stuttering boy from the Midwest become a serial predator in the last frontier? Well, guess what, guys? Tonight, we're moving from the narrow escape of Cindy Paulson into the wide, dark history of a man who spent decades perfecting the art of the hunt. This is the making of Robert Hansen.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about his early years. Don't worry, we won't be spending too much time here, but they are interesting.
They are.
All right, so to understand the man who would become the butcher baker, we have to look at the boy who was forged in the heart of a Pocahontas, Iowa bakery. Now, Robert Christian Hansen wasn't born a monster, but he was raised in an environment that demanded absolute submission.
His father, Christian, was a Danish immigrant who brought an old world style of discipline to the family business. This wasn't a cozy, flower-dusted childhood. It was a life of 2 a.m. wake-up calls.
And look at that.
It
You guys were
was.
just complaining about waking up early.
I know. I'm like, what? Okay, we should be
Maybe
quiet
you guys
now.
can use this for an excuse for work. Be like, listen, so
Listen,
this
I
guy was up at 2 a.m. and look what happened.
but to
Okay.
him, yes.
Can't be doing that. No, thank you.
It was backbreaking labor before a full day of school.
Yeah.
Acquaintances described Christian as a big old mean guy who laid into his son. There was no praise in that bakery, only the threat of failure. He sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, to have to work all that before going to school.
I know.
Like,
I would have been falling asleep, especially during math.
right. But Robert was fighting a battle his father couldn't see. Naturally left-handed, he was forced to use his right hand, a common but psychologically damaging practice of the era. My mom's in the chat. Same thing happened to her. Now, many experts believe that this forced writing style rewired his brain and possibly triggered his lifelong stutter.
Combined with severe scarring acne, that stutter made him a target. In the cruel ecosystem of high school, Robert was the other. He was mocked by the boys and rejected by the girls, while his much younger sister, Alice, would eventually be a top student and class secretary and eventually earning a PhD.
Mm-hmm.
Robert was the invisible boy, retreating further and further into a world of resentment.
Now, on the surface, he tried to fit in. He played football for the Pocahontas Indians, which is a very interesting choice there, but okay. Though he was undersized and overshadowed by the local stars. I was like, he played football. He was a very tiny kid, but it was probably a school with like 12 people in it. Anyway.
But he also wanted to impress his dad, I'm sure.
That's true.
And be a boy.
That's true. But inside, the pressure was building. He would later admit that every time a girl refused to date him, he retreated into his mind to fantasize about doing, quote, all sorts of harmful things to them. For years, these remained just fantasies, supplemented by small, undetected acts of shoplifting. He was testing the boundaries of what he could take without asking. But eventually, those fantasies weren't enough for him. This is like a textbook.
This is like textbook. When the world of people became too painful, Robert retreated into the Iowa woods. In the silence of the forest, his stutter didn't matter, and his scars didn't matter. All that mattered was the 17 guns he had inherited from his father.
Oh, boy. Now, hunting wasn't just a hobby. To him, it was a reclamation of power. In the woods, he wasn't the boy being mocked. Instead, he was the one doing the watching. He was the one with the power of life and death, which is not great.
Is creepy as shit.
Mm-hmm.
One classmate, Millie DeWall, remembered a chilling quote that revealed the darkness growing behind his eyes. Millie, if I ever see a cat, I will drive in the ditch to kill it because it kills the birds I like to hunt. Okay.
Uh-oh, where's our cat people?
I know. I'm like, they're just doing what they're supposed to. Even then, his love for nature was rooted in a desire to eliminate anything that competed with his control. Yeah, I'm sorry. You want to hit the cat just because it kills the birds? Do you not know what a cat was made for and what a cat is supposed to do?
Right? And going out of your way. But this is like him having ownership of things he doesn't have ownership over.
He needed something to control in his life because he didn't have any.
Happy memberversary to mod account Lady on Gray, but her other one is 18 months. They do. The profilers do know these serial killers, don't they? I mean, it's so textbook.
Yeah.
So textbook. Now, after high school, though, Hansen joined the Army Reserve. Hansen's first sexual experience was in New York City with a prostitute. He later described it as a, quote, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am encounter, and that it left him deeply dissatisfied. That sounds like a you problem,
It sounds like
Robert.
you only had enough money to pay for the entry level. You didn't pay for the girlfriend experience.
Now, to him, it was a humiliation that bordered on theft. So he came early, was humiliated, and then felt like she took that from him. He was robbed of his virginity and apparently failing at it. I mean, I'm not saying it's a failure. I'm just saying, though, to him it was. So from then on, he vowed that he'd always get his money's worth. And he would eventually learn the only way to get that was at gunpoint. Red flag indeed.
I'm like, that is a huge red flag.
Fuck them cats. You mean Kong those cats.
Those cats.
Savage.
By 21, Robert Hansen was living a double life. To the citizens of Pocahontas, he was a success story. He was a husband, a soldier in the Army Reserves, and a volunteer firefighter. He even worked as a drill instructor for the local police academy. What? He had successfully embedded himself into the very institutions of authority that had once overlooked him.
Interesting. But on the night of December 7th, 1960, the respectable Bob Hansen stepped into the shadows. He didn't just want to burn a building. He wanted to orchestrate a drama where he was the lead actor. You guys got your checklist from the FBI profilers? Get it out, because we got more to mark down, y'all.
And I do have to put on my HR hat for just a moment. I see that y'all continually want to ban our dear friend Savage. And that is not appropriate to continue threatening him with empty threats.
For our listeners,
that is bullying him.
This is all a joke.
I know it. Savage, but straighten up. Okay?
Oh, she sounds so serious.
So before we get into the actual details of what happened, let's listen to Hansen describe and downplay what happened.
What exactly was it that you did?
All right, there was an old barn out behind the school there in town. And those that worked with me there in the bakery. And that's all there. And let's talk about we'd like to raise the excitement around town there.
Just trying to have a fun time.
Well, that's Darren one another to do this or that or something other, and I laugh. I'm sorry, that's funny.
Clearly you went out and did it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think either one of us was going there with a thought in mind of actually doing it. But then we get there and so barn was there, and we thought, well, we'd raise some excitement. We could light a fire to it, and
You say we was your friend with you at the time?
Okay, I think that's the end of that. Yes.
He talks so slow.
Slow, and then he has a stutter. It's painful. It's painful.
God, that was awful.
Now, he says they were just having a good old time. They were just bored, going to have some fun, you guys. No. That's not what really happened. So now Hansen recruited two 16-year-old boys. Remember, he's a grown-ass man at this point. He's like 20, 21 years old.
Well, his brain's not a man yet.
Well, no, that's true. He recruited these two 16-year-old boys who worked at his father's bakery. These weren't his peers, but they were kids he could dominate, right? He meticulously planned the arson in the back of the bakery, the very place where his father had laid in. Oops, excuse me. Oh, sorry. Llama
Llama burp.
burp. Sorry.
There's the new merch idea.
Llama burp. Where his father had laid into him for years. The plan was very calculated. The boys were to come up with some excuse for their parents and stay at the bakery and paint the ovens to create a work alibi while the school bus garage went up in flames. Oh, but they were just having some fun and just some excitement.
My
Didn't
first
know.
question is, why are you painting an oven?
I don't know.
Are you using spray paint? Are you using acrylic paint? Because those get hot.
I don't know. Was this a thing back then? in the
I
60s?
don't know. You're going to need to add it to Llama Learns because I need to know why you would be painting an oven. I've thought about it since I read this. I'm like, why?
I never really thought about it, but okay.
Yeah. When the garage caught fire, the alarms blared across the quiet Iowa town. Robert Hansen didn't run away. As a volunteer firefighter, he put on his gear and rushed towards the inferno. He was the first one there and stood at the front of the line, hose in hand, fighting the very fire he had set. And
Check.
I bet his little tallywhacker was at attention. Sorry.
Right? He didn't even know he was going to do it, though, Terry.
Oh, whatever. And I
Now,
didn't know that Llama wasn't going to burp during an episode. too. Come on.
but it's a chilling psychological profile,
I have to show
that
you.
of the arsonist hero, which we have covered cases of arsonists who were also firefighters. And it is a very interesting profile for them. And, think about it. He got to feel the godlike power of destruction, followed immediately by the civic high of being the town's protector. And he was basically playing both sides of the board. And I just want to point something out real quick. Remember this story for later when they're going to say, oh, Robert was a loner, and he didn't have any friends, blah, blah, blah. You're going to see that that's all bullshit. All right. Because if he was just some little dweeb that wasn't manipulative, couldn't get people to work with him or lie for him, he just did it with 2 kids. Just saying.
It is a heat-resistant coating that improves durability. But on an oven?
Oh.
I have to tell you, I texted Double H that I forgot to grab the bottle of wine and I was going to need it. So he brought me a whole new glass.
Okay. Was that the rest of the bottle?
I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's his way of saying you get 1 glass, babe. That's it.
He's probably right, though. He's probably right.
Now, I have to say, the hero wasn't as smart as he thought. Okay, guys? The 16-year-old he'd recruited couldn't handle the pressure. When the police started asking questions, the boys pointed the finger directly at the man who had given them the orders faster than anything.
Then his wham bam, thank you,
I
ma'am.
was gonna say something really tacky, and I was like, "Yeah, Terry, be nice. I'm trying to be kind."
To this a-hole? No way.
I was gonna say they lasted
No
as long as
way.
he did in his first sexual encounter.
Yeah, screw this guy. Now, the arrest sent shockwaves through the community. The town was stunned. How could the baker's son, the good kid in the fire department, do something so senseless, right? Like, oh my gosh, what? He would never. No,
Okay.
boy.
I heard you just said that, Dever. I heard the greatest thing on a podcast last night that psychologists tell parents that the worst mistake you can make as a parent is to say that my kid would never.
That's probably true.
And I was like, I never thought of it like that. And you should never say that about your relationships. You should never say that about anyone because we are all humans.
That's true. That's a fair point.
So Hansen was sentenced to 3 years in the Anamosa Reformatory. While he was behind bars, his first marriage to a woman named Phoebe crumbled. You probably got lucky, Phoebe. She filed for divorce, unable to reconcile the man she married with the criminal who had burned down the town school buses. Phoebe, you got lucky, sweetheart.
Right. Now, fun fact that Amos found that I did not was that just a few months before Robert went to Anamosa Reformatory, John Wayne Gacy was there. But they weren't there at the same time. They just missed each other within like months.
Goodness.
But yeah.
Could you imagine the two of those together?
Yes. It's kind of weird and creepy, right? Yeah. Like 6 months difference between the same year and everything. Very interesting. Now, Robert Hansen's 20 months in the Anamosa Reformatory did more than just punish him. It provided a chilling psychological blueprint of the man he was becoming. The psychiatric evaluations were, as some say, were devastatingly accurate. Doctors described a man with a cocktail of mental health struggles like bipolar disorder and schizophrenic episodes. I just want to know that I very much question the reality of all of this because I think it's bullshit. But whatever. But they did pin his core identity with one phrase: infantile personality, which I do agree with.
I do agree with that one.
Mm-hmm. The other stuff, I don't know.
I mean,
I think
I'm
you'll learn the more you learn about him.
Because it was the 70s.
The 60s, but yeah.
Or the 60s. Basically, they just were labeling, they were just throwing out things.
It wasn't a great time for mental health.
It wasn't
in
a great
America.
time.
So, like, I don't generally take any, like, when you're going that far back, you really can't take it super seriously because of a lot of the monstrosities that happened in the early, 1900s to to even now. It's not great.
It's not great. It's not great. So Hansen was a man-child, which we all, I think, already figured out. He lacked the emotional maturity to handle the word no.
Mm-hmm.
In his mind, every rejection wasn't a part of life. It was a debt that had to be paid back in blood or fire. No. Robert had no interest in healing. He wanted to get even.
That is very accurate. Now, while in the reformatory, Hansen discovered a new mask, a convenient one, as many do.
As many do in today's current society.
He found the Bible, you guys. He took courses from the Moody Bible Institute and leaned heavily into religious counseling. So to the authorities, it looked like a breakthrough. Oh my goodness. They noted that he was gaining insight and was no longer antisocial because obviously that's how all of that works.
Oh, I guess I missed that because I didn't realize it worked that way.
Not for people like this, it doesn't.
Okay.
At all. At all.
Lady in Gray, you are correct. Too bad he didn't believe or retain any of it.
Mm-hmm. Or just what was convenient for him. Really.
Yeah. But looking back, it's clear Hansen viewed religion not as a moral compass, but as the strongest medicine to suppress the urges he couldn't control. It was a tool for his toolbox. Another way to convince the world he was a good man, so they would stop looking at the monster underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, it kind of works for him.
Works out for him hella well.
And that scares me.
Lady Gray. Reading the Bible to fix yourself is like Laura getting pregnant by looking at someone. I know, right? There's like a lot of other work that needs to be done, Also, we know he doesn't give a shit about it.
I love that.
So when Hansen was released early, train time. Oh, it's early tonight. Okay.
Choo-choo.
Mhm. When Hansen was released early in 1962, he didn't emerge as a changed man. What? No. Instead, he emerged into a man, or as a man, who learned that to survive, his mask of respectability had to be even thicker. Between his 1963 parole and his 1967 move to Alaska, Hansen spent 4 years lost in the Midwest. And this is a period that haunts investigators and researchers to this day. Okay.
Inga.
I will definitely talk about this once we go through this section, but just, oh boy.
Basically, he learned to be better at deceiving. I mean, okay, yeah. Okay. Why? Because Robert Hansen was eventually arrested in Alaska. He didn't just confess to murders we know about.
Oh, sorry. I saw that I wrote Robert E. Hansen.
I saw that.
I almost want to call him that because I know you would hate it.
He hinted at a darkness that started much earlier. Without Darla, his second wife, there to anchor him, Bob went lost. In cities like Minot, is that right?
Minot.
Minot?
Okay. No.
Minot in Minneapolis, he said he had the opportunity, the vehicle, and the lack of supervision to begin practicing the hunt.
Yeah. Now, did he claim his first victims in the grain belt of the Midwest? No. And we don't have the bodies, but we do have the pattern. Okay. He was a man with a map, a car, and an infantile personality that demanded he get even with a world that had rejected him.
On a funny note, can you imagine what your son and my granddaughter would do if we handed them a map and told them they had to use that to find their way instead of using the phone?
I feel like little Llama would be like, I'll wait till it gets dark and navigate the stars because I know how to do that somehow. That's very much what he would do. He'd be like, oh, I know, Mom. The North Star in Venus is over here. And therefore.
Yeah, I don't know what Monkey Butt would do, but it started in Walker, Minnesota. His parents had fled the shame of the Iowa arson and bought a lakeside resort. This is where Bob met Darla. For a moment, the man-child seemed stabilized by this romance. He even went to Chicago for a 3-week stint at Wilton's cake decorating school. It was a domestic, harmless skill, decorating cakes, one that I've tried to master and failed. But it became the primary camouflage he would wear for the next 20 years.
Yes, but the harmless baker was rarely in one place for long. Through a family friend, he landed a job in Minot, North Dakota. Yeah. So I was like, how did I just tell you how to say that?
I'm like, I'm going to just call it Minot.
It's Minot, like Pinot.
I know it's like Pinot,
Mino. Oh, maybe it's Mino. It's
maybe
not even
it's
Minot. Oh, jeez. Anyway.
Words are hard.
Okay. Suddenly, though, he was 363 miles away from his parents and even further from the watchful eyes of the Iowa parole officers. Ooh. Oh, is this what you've been yelling at us for? My not? Is it really?
Okay, I thought I heard it something like that. That's why I was like, is it Minot, Minot? Okay, Lady in Gray, we got it. 3 times, we got it. Minot. Okay, thank you. Why not? My not freezing in the okay, thank you, Savage. Hansen's career with the Cox Bakeries was the perfect cover. The chain had 32 locations across the Midwest, and Bob was their fill-in manager.
Mm.
Whenever a manager went on vacation, Bob was sent to run the show, which is scary that they were sending him all across the Midwest.
Yes. Yes, it is. And we'll talk about that more in just a second. Now, in my not happy now chat, my not, thank you. He spent 7 to 8 weeks here alone. In an Air Force town on the Northern Plains, a transient baker wouldn't stand out very much. Nobody's going to notice him. And this was his first real taste of post-prison freedom, if you will. And then Hansen went to Rapid City, South Dakota, where Darla joined him briefly, working as a bookkeeper. But the stability there was very short-lived. And I wonder why, but we don't know. But I have my suspicions.
You have your suspicions.
Mm-hmm.
I love that no one wants to go to the air base in Minot. Love that, because that tells me that when you get that assignment, you're like, oh shit, what did I do?
Okay, so that's why you guys know how it's pronounced. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Because you were Air Force too, right, Savage?
Savage was
Yeah.
or he is a veteran. He was a military guy because he was educating me the other day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did say that.
Yes.
Well, then fine, we take your word for it.
Yes. By 1964, they moved again to Minneapolis, Minnesota, so Darla could finish her degree. Bob worked at Myers Baker for a year and a half. He claimed to respect his boss, calling him an awfully nice fella.
Mm.
But the bad Bob persona was simmering just beneath the surface.
By the end of 1966, the lost years were catching up with him. Small-time trouble was starting to brew again after he had been busted shoplifting a few times. The Midwest was starting to feel too small for him, and his record was starting to feel too heavy. Not great.
I mean, just quit shoplifting. Be a better person. I mean, it's that easy. It's all the snow that drives you Yanks crazy. That's what's wrong with Llama. Okay, I wondered.
Probably.
I wondered. Robert looked at a map and saw a place where a man could truly disappear into the landscape. A place where the law was spread thin and the wilderness was vast. Together in 1967, he and Darla turned their sights towards Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh boy.
But as we know, Robert Hansen didn't leave his baggage at the border. He brought his infantile need for revenge with him. And it didn't take long for the Bad Bob record to start growing again. And this is why Monkey Bud and my daughter-in-law are not moving to Alaska. Not happening.
I agree. Now, before we go into this next part, I do want to talk about this time in his life because I have not dived super into it. That way, I could do all the research we needed here. But I will tell you all right now, as soon as we are done ramping this up, my ass is going to all the places in the Midwest where he was around this time because I truly believe that there is missing persons,
you know what?
or unsolved people in these Midwestern cities at the time.
We should split them up. We should put a list of all of them and split them up and let people on our team volunteer to go down those rabbit holes.
I do like that idea because I mean, it just has to. He's checked every box,
and then we could
every
bring
single box.
Those cases, and we could do like special. Oh my god!
And you really think that some little shoplifting is going to make him want to move to fucking Alaska? No, it's going to be something worth a lot. Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
Got to have a body there, or some. Yeah.
No, I have nothing to back up any of my suspicions.
It's all speculation.
It's all speculation. And I'm sure that other people have thought the same thing as well. It's just we don't really care
But they're
to
not
collect
us.
resources anymore. But they're not us. And we got free time. And I am going to be
We
on
do.
this Midwest. Well, I will soon. A little while, maybe. And Amy, we have
I'm
free
like
time.
going, we have free time. I'm like going, where?
No, I do. I think that there has to be a shit ton of stuff that happened in
Oh, I agree.
these states. There's no way it didn't. Oh, I know you just said don't ever say never.
There
no way.
is, yeah.
Even if it's just raping women, like
Even
there
if it's
has
just-
to it'd be like he has a footprint somewhere.
He does. Just like the Golden State Killer, who's NorCal, SoCal.
Mhm.
I mean, he couldn't contain it. They thought he stopped, you know.
Yeah, this is, he's not caught till what he's like in his 40s or something like that.
I know, but
And he says, "Oh, I've only been killing for 3 years." Bullshit.
he has been textbook on everything so far. So textbook would say he didn't stop.
Mm-hmm. And then there's just so much of jumping from one place to another. I definitely think there is a string.
I agree. Fires, Amy. I'm like arson, because arson, you can do that to get satisfaction, but he's a revenge person, and he wanted to get what he felt was owed to him. So,
and being out on his own in places where nobody knows him,
and his wife wasn't there. Perfect time to pick up a girl. Okay.
Definitely.
I don't know what Double H is cooking, but oh my.
Oh.
It smells really good.
All right. Well, let's get into the next chapter of his early years.
And buckle up.
And buckle up. This is where we really get into shit now that we're entering into Alaska. So by 1971, Robert and Darla had been in Anchorage, Alaska for about 5 years. And to any outsider, they were the embodiment of the Alaskan dream. Robert wasn't just a baker. He was a master of his craft. He was a father of 2, a homeowner, and of course, a respectable member of the community. I mean, I think the bar is really low here at this point. But, whatever.
But it was in the wilderness that's where he truly excelled. He wasn't just a hobbyist. He was a record-breaking hunter. I mean, look at those horns he's holding. Look at those horns.
We saw his creepy-ass basement in the first episode.
Oh, yeah. He mastered the bow and the rifle, which is impressive, in learning how to track, how to wait, and how to kill with clinical precision. In Alaska, being a great hunter is a badge of honor. No one realized he was simply practicing for a different kind of prey.
Yeah. Now, while Robert was baking bread and winning archery trophies, the city of Anchorage was undergoing a radical, chaotic transformation. The discovery of oil on the North Slope had turned the city into a boom town overnight. It's a gold rush, if you will.
Liquid gold.
There we go. Yeah.
I guess it's not Texas tea since it's in Alaska. If you stood at the top of the Westward Hotel in 1971, you would see a city of stark contrast. You would see the transport planes from Vietnam, a sober reminder of a world at war, lumbering into Elmendorf Air Force Base. But below them on the streets, it was the pure Wild West energy.
Sure was. 4th Avenue became a neon-lit gauntlet of saloons and bars like the Silver Dollar and the Nevada Club. And it was a place where money flowed as fast as the liquor. And with that money comes the shadow economy. Prostitutes lined the streets, and Cadillacs were parked 3 deep. And just a few miles south in Spenard, massage parlors, you know which kind, were popping up on every corner.
What kind?
The sexy lady kind. The happy ending kind.
The happy ending kind. It was a city of transients, oil workers, and people looking to disappear or get rich. It was the perfect ecosystem for a predator. In the noise and the hustle of the boom, people went missing. And the authorities were often too overwhelmed, or to be honest, too indifferent to notice.
Very indifferent.
I'm going with the last part.
Indifferent. Yep, it's that one. Now, 1971 was supposed to be the year the story ended. But instead, this is where the revolving door of justice essentially gave a predator the green light to refine his methods. Because Robert Hansen didn't look like the boomers or the pimps on 4th Avenue and looked like a respectable businessman instead, that look was enough to buy him another 12 years of freedom. All right, so just put a pin in that, okay? All of this
Still
could
do
end
not know how
with what we're about to talk about.
it's happened.
Oh,
God, here we go. The first major glitch in Hansen's Alaskan mask happened with a young real estate secretary. This wasn't a street worker. This was a woman from the respectable side of society. And the way Hansen targeted her and the way he almost got away with it is a chilling look at his evolving MO. Oh, sorry, I just saw that sign. It was November 22nd, 1971, a freezing Alaskan evening. Susan Heppeard, an 18-year-old real estate secretary, was doing something every Alaskan does in the winter. She was plugging in her car's engine block heater after a day of work. Guys, I had to ask Double H what the heck that was because I'm a Texas girl. And apparently, to keep your engine block from cracking and stuff, you have to plug it in. Didn't know that. So, see, I can learn things. Suddenly, the cold was replaced by the feel of steel. A man grabbed her from behind, pressing a revolver into her back. As he said, "Don't scream." But Susan didn't listen. She screamed with everything she had. The man shoved the barrel against her head and covered her mouth, threatening to blow her brains out. Okay, guys, that is scary as crap. But then the sound of a distant siren cut through the air. The attacker panicked and vanished into the darkness. He thought the snow would hide him. But in 10-degree weather, the environment itself became a witness. When the Anchorage police arrived, they found a scene that looked like a movie set. They spotted a man walking through these sub-zero temperatures with no coat and no hat. He was practically vibrating with tension. It was Robert Hansen.
So the officers didn't just rely on his suspicious appearance. They followed a set of fresh footprints through the deep snow. And the trail led them to an abandoned car where, tucked into a wheel well, they found an orange baseball cap and a loaded .38 caliber revolver. Susan Heppeard looked at the hat, looked at the gun, and then looked at Hansen, and she was certain that this was the man. She's like, yeah, it's that creepy ass.
It's like, yep, that's him. Inside the interrogation room with Detective Ron Rice, we see the first version of Robert Hansen, who would later sit across from Glenn Floff. At first, he denied everything. He gave a rambling alibi about driving to the airport to go bow hunting and getting tents. So he decided to take a walk in the freezing dark to clear his head with no jacket or hat.
As one does.
Bullshit. In 10-degree weather? No, you don't.
Right? It doesn't make sense. But then the mask shifted. When the evidence became too much to ignore, Hansen pivoted. He didn't admit to a crime. Instead, he admitted to a malfunction. Okay. He told the detective that if he was involved, he needed help because he had an imbalance in his mind, which, by the way, is bullshit.
Is total bullshit. And this is where Terry starts getting really frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
This was a calculated move. He was painting himself not as a predator, but as a victim of his own biology. He was essentially telling the police, I'm a good man, a baker, a hunter. I just have these episodes I can't control. Why did I just get all Southern?
I don't know, because he's not from there, but okay. Why not? Who cares?
It was a plea for pity that the legal system was all too eager to freaking grant.
Yes. Now, Hansen was arrested and now in the system. He had been caught red-handed with a loaded gun and a kidnapped teenager. By all rights, this should have been the end of his story. Right, guys? Right?
Yeah.
Right? But as we'll see, Robert Hansen was about to learn exactly how much a respectable reputation was worth in an Alaska courtroom.
I hate this because back in the 70s, everything was about reputation and how, I mean, it's still there today, but he was even more back then. And that just so. Christmas Day, 1971, should have been a day for relief for Anchorage. The city had just survived a brutal Arctic storm with gale force winds that had literally torn pieces off mountains and dumped them on the highways.
No, thank you.
No. By the 25th, the temperature hit a balmy 40 degrees.
Which is a freaking heat wave. If
I'm like, that's
storm.
a heat wave
It
in
is.
Alaska.
It is. It's like
The
the warmest 40 degrees ever is.
The sun was out, the skies were blue, and the Lawler, I can't say that, Lawler brothers, Gary and Dennis, decided to head south along the Seaward Highway to capture the scenery.
So the brothers pulled into McHugh Creek State Park, a place of rugged ridges and spectacular views of the Turnagain Arm. Dennis found a ledge about 20 feet below a picnic area, a perfect spot to catch the light hitting the creek. And it looks gorgeous.
It is stunning. It is stunning. But as he adjusted his camera, his lens caught something that didn't quite belong in the landscape. Behind a bush, partially dusted with fresh snow, sat what looked like a discarded mannequin, which, guys, I'm here to tell you, it is never a mannequin. Okay.
Have like any like large amount of data of people finding mannequins. Like, how did this become such a common, like, I just thought it was?
It's not a mannequin because people's brain do not want to accept the reality. So their brain's protecting them.
Right.
That's what I'm going with. He leaned in and he strained to focus. It wasn't plastic. Instead, it was a young woman. She was nude below the waist, her body cast at an impossible angle against the frozen earth.
And when the state troopers arrived, they uncovered a scene of absolute horror. The victim was Celia Beth Van Zanten, an 18-year-old who had just vanished days earlier. The evidence told a story of a girl who refused to go quietly. Her wrists were bound behind her back with speaker wire. She had been brutally assaulted, her chest slashed with a knife. But Beth was a fighter because somehow, despite her injuries and her bound hands, she had managed to break away from her captor. She had run for her life in the pitch black of an Alaskan winter night.
With her hands tied behind her in snow 3 feet deep, she had plunged down a dizzying 50-foot slope. I can't imagine. And that terrain, without the use of your arms for balance, every step is a gamble with potential death.
Oh, yeah.
She had fought through the drifts, falling and rising again, trying to disappear into the black hole of the valley to escape the man with the knife.
And she almost made it. But the cold and her wounds were a second predator she couldn't outrun. She died there on that ledge, just a few yards from safety, a testament to her sheer will to survive.
While the Lawler brothers were reporting their discovery, Robert Hansen was still a free man, dealing with the fallout of Susan Heppeard abduction attempt. The police didn't connect the two yet.
Oh, just a little month apart? What?
I'm like, we're going to see that they don't know how to connect the dots a lot.
Right? Oh, man. Now, Sergeant Walter Gilmore was literally tying his tie for Christmas dinner when the call came in. He swapped his holiday plans for the frozen terrain of McHugh Creek Campground. There, he found Celia Beth Van Zandt. She had been missing for 2 days, last seen heading to a convenience store.
The forensic clock was ticking. And, guys, the weather was the enemy. A light drizzle was turning the snow to slush.
I'll do it.
And Gilmore watched in frustration as a collage of tire prints, concentric circles left by the killer's car, melted away before they could be cast, disappearing.
Yeah. Now, beside Beth's body, the investigator found a silver belt buckle, a black leather belt, and strange tufts of yellow tissue paper. Now, at the time, fun fact, they were just fragments of a puzzle that didn't fit together. Okay. But today we know that yellow tissue paper is often used where, class, in bakeries to separate delicate pastries. Oh my goodness. What?
I can tell you can also buy them in pink nowadays.
Okay. But we're in 1971.
I know, but I'm just saying that's horrible to think that you use something that you put around your croissant or your donuts or your muffins is, I'm trying to make light of it because that just freaks me out. In 1971, Amy, in 1971, the police were prone to looking close to home. They zeroed in on Beth's foster cousin, Greg. He was a young man with a shaky alibi, a history of carousing, and a night of drinking so heavy that the APD had forced him into a cab.
But Greg passed a polygraph, which one thing you're going to learn, I'll just tell you all now in this story. They love fucking polygraphs in the 1970s.
Everybody did.
My gosh. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And there comes Buffy.
And there comes Buffy. That actually summons Buffy, by the way. You didn't know that, but it does. Yeah, don't take one. Don't ever take one. All right?
Don't ever take one and never talk to the cops without an attorney. Just don't do it.
But anyway, back to this. But all right, so Greg passed the polygraph. The neighborhood witnesses added another layer of complication. They reported seeing Beth hitchhiking as late as 11 p.m. And in the Wild West of the oil boom, hitchhiking was common. But it was also a buffet for a predator, as we know from all of the bad hitchhiking stories of the 70s, which is a lot of them. The investigation was stalling, sinking into the hitchhiker type case file where so many Alaskan murders went to die. And I'm curious, I want to go through even more of Alaska's murders and see how many we don't talk about in this series that could potentially be his as well.
24 hours into the investigation, Sergeant Gilmore was sitting in a silent trailer office when the intercom buzzed. On line 2 was JP, a legendary senior officer with deep roots in the community. I think I got an informant that may be able to help you, JP said.
Now, this informant wasn't just a random street contact. No, it was the trooper's own daughter, Patty Roberts, also known as Robin Patterson or Sandra Patterson. There's a lot of aliases for this lady, but many people just said Patty Roberts, so that's what I went with. All right. Now, remember, trooper's own daughter, the state trooper's own daughter is who
a cop's kid.
Yeah. Okay. Now, she had been working the streets of 4th Avenue, and she had a story to tell. A story about a meek baker who wasn't nearly as harmless as he appeared. The year 1971 should have been the end of Robert Hansen. In a matter of weeks, he had attacked at least 2 young women, and there was evidence that suggests a third.
But here is the detail that's going to make your blood boil. When Robert Hansen kidnapped Patty Roberts, he was out on a personal recognizance for the attempted kidnapping of Susan Heppeard.
Yeah.
The court looked at the respectable baker and decided he wasn't a flight risk or a danger to the community, but yet he had attacked a woman.
Mm-hmm. Right. That he then says he had no control over because of
his body just did it.
Or whatever. Now, listen, they couldn't have been more wrong because Hansen didn't go home to reflect on his psychiatric imbalance. No, he went back to the streets of Anchorage with a gun and a plan. Oh, you guys are about to be so mad. So mad.
Patricia Roberts, known on the streets as Robin Patterson, was only 18 years old. Like many young women drawn to the neon lights of 4th Avenue during the oil boom, she was trapped in a cycle of addiction. She was working the streets to support a heroin habit.
In the eyes of investigator Bill Dennis, douche, and the old guard of the Alaskan Police Department, Patty would have been labeled as unreliable, much like Cindy Paulson was.
Here it comes.
This, okay? But to her father, Thomas Roberts, she was a daughter in trouble. And Thomas wasn't just anyone. He was a veteran Alaskan state trooper. Okay?
And yeah. On December 26, 1971, the day after Beth Van Zanten's body was found in the snow at McHugh Creek, Thomas Roberts walked his daughter into state trooper headquarters. He wasn't there as an officer. He was there as a father registering a complaint of abduction, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape.
Now, Patty's story was harrowing, and it mirrored this nightmare Susan Heppeard had barely escaped. But because Patty was a sex worker, she knew the police might not listen. By bringing her father, a man who knew exactly how the system worked, she forced the authorities to look at the baker through a different lens. They weren't just looking at a transaction gone wrong anymore. They were looking at a predator who was specifically targeting women he thought the world wouldn't miss.
To all the officers out there, transactions very, very rarely go wrong.
It's like the mannequin thing. Like, what are the odds of that's what really happens? That it's our default, that that's what always happens. Does it happen? Yeah, it does.
But we're talking such a small little percentage.
Right? Like statistically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, it's about to get worse. When Patty told the troopers what Patty told the troopers that day would provide the most detailed look yet into Hansen's twisted psychology and the physical deformities he tried so hard to hide. Patty's nightmare didn't begin in a dark alley or remote trail. It began at the Nevada Cafe, which was just blocks away from where Robert Hansen worked as a baker at the Safeway on 9th and Ingra.
This is a classic trait of a predator gaining confidence. They begin to hunt in their own comfort zone. And to Hansen, this neighborhood was his territory. He knew the rhythms of the streets. He knew which cafes stayed open late. And he knew exactly where the police patrols were and where they weren't.
He was a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You know where the animals are. You know what time of day they are. He used that skill, people. It was around 4 a.m. on Sunday, December 19th. Patty had just stepped out to start her car, letting it warm up against the Alaskan chill.
Much like Susan Heppeard.
As she turned to head back inside for the last of her tea, she found him waiting.
Now, Robert Hansen didn't lead with a pickup line or a nervous stutter. He led with cold, calculated force. Because as Patty tried to brush past him, he pulled a .22 caliber pistol from beneath his coat. "Don't give me any trouble," he commanded.
In that moment, Patty's world narrowed down to the barrel of that gun hidden under a baker's coat. He didn't just ask her to get into the car, he claimed her. And because she was young, alone, and staring at a loaded weapon, she did exactly what he said. She stepped into the vehicle, leaving her own car idling in the lot, a ghost of the life she was being stolen from.
This is a quote from Patty. "After I got into his car, he took my purse from me to be sure I didn't have any protection. This man was somewhere between 23 and 28 years old, it looked like. About 5'8" to 5'9", skinny, had blonde hair cut fairly short, bluish-green eyes, kind of a turned-up nose, and his face was kind of lumpy. He was wearing horn-rimmed glasses, and he was dressed warm, had a coat or jacket on, and had the GI-type pants and dark, heavy boots." Oh my gosh, that sounds almost exactly like what Cindy Bolson said to him.
I was to say, it sounds so similar. Once she was in the car, the meek baker transformed into a tactical driver. He held the gun in his left hand, pointed directly at her while steering with his right. Patty, terrified but incredibly observant, noted that this wasn't a revolver. This weapon looked like an automatic pistol.
I bet. Like her dad's.
Yeah.
Now, he began a series of turns designed to disorient her, which is a common tactic for predators who want to ensure their victims can't find their way back. And he was heading away from the neon lights of the 4th Avenue bars and towards the darker, quieter edges of the city.
Just before they reached Campbell Creek, a secluded area thick with brush and shadow, Hansen pulled over. He didn't just tell her to stay still. He reached into his pocket and pulled out leather shoelaces.
Now, this is a detail that investigators would later look back on with a shiver. He didn't have a roll of duct tape or heavy rope that might look suspicious in a car. No, he used something mundane, something he likely had in his pockets at the bakery, but he used them with the precision of a man who had practiced his knots. I'll be honest, it's pretty clever.
I was going to say, that's pretty clever, but on the other hand, how often do you have to change out your shoelaces?
That's true. I don't know. I don't even
I
remember.
don't think I've ever changed out my shoelaces.
Yeah. Actually, funny story is one time little Llama, we needed to get him new shoelaces because they were not good. And we haven't bought, I can tell you, I've never bought shoelaces as an adult. Right. So we're like, me and Elbow Feet are like, okay, well, where do we go get shoelaces? Because we've never even seen them in
I
a
was going to say, I didn't know it was a thing.
It was hard to find a pair of shoelaces. I think we had to go to Foot Locker. They were outrageously priced because we couldn't find them anywhere else. And then I was like, well, where do you go to buy?
I know, like, I didn't know shoelaces were a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
He tied Patty's hands behind her back and bound her feet. In that moment, she was no longer a passenger. She was cargo. By using the shoelaces, Hansen was able to keep his kit small and inconspicuous. If he were pulled over, he was just a baker with some spare laces. But in the dark of Arctic Boulevard, those laces were effective as iron shackles.
I'm sure he could tie some wicked
Okay,
knots.
apparently Lady in Gray. First of all,
Why?
I only have like 2 pair of tennis shoes and then a pair of hiking boots that take laces. Everything else is heels or boots and they don't require shoelaces. Maybe that's why.
Let us know, everyone, the last time you bought shoelaces, okay?
Because I cannot tell you the last time I bought shoelaces.
No, not at all. Now, with Patty bound and helpless in the seat beside him, Robert Hansen had crossed a threshold. The fantasies he had harbored since his lonely teenage years in Iowa were no longer just thoughts. They were physically manifested in the woman tied up next to him.
Oh my. Roberts, he said he intended to keep me for 2 days. And then if I cooperated with him, he would bring me back to town and let me off within a block of my car. He told me he was going to take me to Kanaya to some cabins. He had blankets. It's what?
Kanai.
Kanai?
I think so, yeah.
He had blankets. They looked like green navy type. And he had sandwiches in the car.
Worst picnic ever, okay? But in all seriousness, think about that for a second. He had no intention, obviously, of stopping for gas station snacks or a restaurant, which is a whole lot of premeditation.
That's a lot of premeditation.
Right. And I mean, yeah, that would be too risky with a woman bound in shoelaces in the front seat. So, okay. But, obviously he's prepared for this. He had likely stood in the Safeway bakery surrounded by the smell of fresh bread and the Midwest nice expectations of his upbringing and packed a lunch for kidnapping. Like, that is, I don't know why that detail, it just breaks me. I don't.
And I bet he made sure the bread was fresh.
It was probably a good fucking sandwich.
It was probably a really good sandwich because he's evil.
Mm-hmm.
But to Hansen, this wasn't just food. It was a logistics strategy. He was sating his hunger while he prepared to sate his darker, fouler impulses. The cabin in Kenai, is that what you say?
Mm-hmm.
Kenai was a fantasy. Hansen didn't own a retreat there. But He needed Patty to believe he did. He needed her to believe there was a destination, a place where the rules were his and the world was gone.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's
I don't like it at all.
horrifying. Just horrifying. Now you're getting pissed all over again. Right? It's a very scary thought that he was going to keep her for a few days, or, you know,
And
Patty
was
was
the food
also.
just for him? Was it to share? Just,
Mm.
yeah.
Now, as they drove into the dark, Patty realized that the man beside her wasn't just tense or imbalanced. He was a man who planned his crimes like he planned his bakery shifts for his staff. And that is a level of coldness that no psychiatric report can fully capture. Just treating it as a chore list, packing things, and the amount of thinking with this. This is also why
Mhm.
I believe he did a bunch of shit in the Midwest before he ever came to Alaska. I'm just saying. So, oh, hi.
Monkey
Monkey.
butt, you are never moving to Alaska, ever. Okay? Just saying now, if your mom has a problem with it, tell her to call me. We'll discuss. Okay?
But it's really
It is.
haunted.
It is. I mean, to realize the person has gone through all of that preparedness,
Mhm.
it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just like, oh, I just saw somebody and then it took over me.
No, this was a plan.
No, this was very, very, very premeditated. Now, whether or
Mhm.
not we know it was her he was targeting, I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't think it was like
I
her
think he just
specifically, but
was
maybe.
looking for a woman to warm up her car, come out. I think, yeah.
Like, you're right, you're hunting. You're usually not just like, I don't know shit about hunting, so I'm
I
sure.
mean, if you're hunting for a deer
Yeah,
and maybe an elk walks by, you're going to shoot the elk.
right. Like,
I mean, I live
you
in
know,
Texas. We don't have elks.
either way, you're out hunting,
You're out hunting.
you know, so.
The atmosphere in the car shifted. Hansen wasn't just driving to a destination. He was vibrating with a strange, distracted energy. Patty described him as a basket of distraction. He kept stopping the car, hovering between his violent urges and a pathetic desire for some kind of romantic connection. Oh, he was just looking for love in all the wrong places.
Again, worst romantic picnic
And I'm
ever.
like,
Now, he asked her to make love to him, a phrase that feels nauseating
Oh.
given the circumstances. And, you know, when we heard Cindy in our last episode talk about her experience, she also used the words made love.
mhm.
And I never really connected until right now of whether or not I thought she was just using it due to like her age and
That's apparently verbiage.
yeah, and now I'm like, oh, is that why she said it that way? You know? So just put that together. So Patty, showing incredible survival instincts, played along. She negotiated and told him the car was too cramped and that they should wait. And she was managing his ego to keep herself alive. Brilliant.
I mean, just brilliant.
I mean, it's a gamble.
Eventually- Yeah.
But what do you got to lose? I mean, you know
I mean-
that if you're in this, there is no way nobody is thinking that they're
No, you
coming
do
back from
whatever.
this.
You just try it.
Mhm.
Now, he eventually pulled into a rock pit along the highway, one of those jagged, desolate clearings used for road construction. He told Patty it would be better if she got in the back seat so no one could see her.
Now, this isn't going to make a lot of sense for a few more episodes, but I would like everybody to put a pin in that paragraph right now that he pulled into a rock pit or a gravel pit, whatever you want to call it. Just keep that in mind later and you'll be like, oh, I see. But then the game turned even more predatory. He reached over the seat, pulled at her blouse and asked if he could rip her bra off, which she asked him not to. I'm sorry, when she asked him not to, he pivoted. He forced her to strip, untying her hands just long enough for her to remove her dress and bra before letting her put, "Is it rude to do that? Yes, but I'm glad that he didn't end up ripping her shirt, her outfit, and her bra." Okay,
Yeah.
because I mean, what he did is not great. It's way more
It's not.
humiliating,
It is.
but at least he didn't ruin her clothes because she might need them later,
Might need them later.
you know? Like, so, okay. But I bet it's cold as shit.
Monkey Butt, you need to not watch this episode, and you need to go find something better to do.
That's true.
That's it.
Carry
That's all I'm
on.
saying.
Carry on, Monkey
Yep.
Butt. We'll see you soon.
Carry on. And I will know if you watch because I can look in the background.
Right? Now, his logic was, if you're naked, you won't try and run, he told her. I don't know why he thought that was.
I'm like, I don't know why he thought that because
I don't give a
to
shit
get
if
away
I'm
from
naked.
you,
Like,
I will run
bye, Monkey
naked.
Butt, babes.
Yeah, bye, monkey.
Also,
will
I
run
saw your
naked.
basketball picture. You looked great. Congrats. Yeah, no, I'm running. I don't
running.
care.
And
I
if
don't-
there's gravel on the ground, I'm running on the gravel too, like the
Yeah.
girl. I mean, sorry, dude.
I mean, I guess, well, I guess maybe at the times women were much more
But if
refined, but
it's-
I think your
Your
instincts come
instincts
over.
kick in.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? And it's not like she had something to hide like he did with his little wanker, which we're going to
Mhm.
find out later. But it was a tactic of humiliation and strategic vulnerability. He was stripping away her dignity to ensure her compliance. And then, in perhaps the most skin crawling moment of the entire ordeal, he reached back and pulled her toward him and kissed her.
Gross. Now, it was the ultimate frog who would never be a prince moment. He wanted the power of a kidnapper, but the validation of a lover. He wanted to be feared and desired simultaneously, a hallmark of the deep-seated rejection he'd felt since high school. Mhm.
Sorry, that's just. Even in the middle of this nightmare, Hansen tried to play the role of the provider. When Patty mentioned she was out of cigarettes, he told her she had been good and he promised to get her some.
Now, this is the infantile side of his brain in full view, right?
Mhm.
Treating a kidnapped, bound, and partially nude woman like a child who had earned a treat for good behavior. This left him as though he was the one in control of the car, the gun, the shoelaces, and even her nicotine, which I can't imagine how bad she wanted in this time because I sure would have. All right. I'd have been like, fine. If you give me cigarettes, fine. Okay. He was the god of her world for these few hours, and he was relishing every second of it. And it's, ugh.
When they reached the Portage Cafe, which was a popular stop for travelers heading south, Hansen did something remarkably risky. He left Patty alone in the car to go inside. But before he stepped out, he revealed another weapon in his arsenal. He reached under the front seat and pulled out a long knife.
Oh, a long knife, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we just hear about one of those not too terribly long ago that would actually happen in a couple days after this?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he didn't take it inside with him for protection. No, he took it because he was terrified that Patty might find it and use it against him while he was buying her cigarettes. It's a moment of pure paranoid calculation. He's not wrong. He knew exactly what he was, a man who needed to keep his prey disarmed at all costs. And honestly, I think that was to terrify her a little bit more, that like, even if you get my gun,
Mm-hmm.
I have other things.
But it also goes to show he doesn't have an imbalance.
Exactly.
He knew what the F he was doing.
Exactly.
But there is a detail here that speaks to the very core of Robert Hansen's soul. He bought her 2 packs of Marlboros.
2.
A little over a decade later, during his final confession, Hansen would talk at length about his obsession with money. He was stingy to a fault. He was a stingy bastard. A trait he claimed to have inherited from his domineering father. He lived by a strict philosophy. You don't spend money. He even used this to justify why he stole chainsaws and equipment instead of buying them.
Also, I think this is another bullshit excuse.
I think it's bullshit.
So when he buys Patty 2 packs of cigarettes, he isn't being generous. He's making an investment. Okay. In his mind, those cigarettes were the fuel required to keep his victim compliant and alive for the duration of the game. And buying her 2 packs means to her that he's not planning to kill her right away. Because you can't just smoke 2 packs of cigarettes in like an hour. I mean, you can, but you're going to throw up. Yeah. All right. And probably definitely in 1971 cigarettes.
Oh, yeah. That would have scared the shit out of me that he bought 2 packs. I mean, you don't want to die, but you also don't want to be tortured for hours, days. But
I'm sorry, I kind of.
It's okay. But true to his stingy nature, he didn't buy her a carton. He did provide just enough to maintain control, but not a penny more.
Yeah. And I mean, he's not wrong. That'd probably work. Be like, oh, yeah, if you want one, because you're super stressed out. Now, as the car pushed further south, the facade of the polite baker began to crumble. Hansen started an inquisition, grilling Patty about where she lived and who she knew. When her answers didn't satisfy his need for total dominance, the man-child lashed out and slapped her hard twice. What a romantic.
Yeah. This was the Christian Hansen inheritance coming to the surface. The belief that any perceived defiance deserved a physical blow. But then, as quickly as the violence arrived, he retreated back into his twisted version of chivalry. He allowed her to dress again. Boots, hose, underwear, and her coat. And he retied her hands, this time in the front. It was a small mercy designed to keep her dependent on his whims. He is trying to screw with her psychologically.
Oh, yeah. Totally. It's like walking a dog on those, retractable leashes.
Yeah. You just let him think they're going to go.
No, I'm pulling you back. No, he's a dick. Now, they eventually pulled off the highway near Kenai Lake, and this wasn't a cabin. It was a side road that led to desolate open clearing. And in the sub-zero Alaskan night, with the glacier-fed lake nearby, the isolation was total. Like, ain't nobody even driving around you.
Nobody's out for a stroll.
It's so dark, unbelievably dark. Oh, how terrifying.
He was done driving. He untied her hands and forced her to strip completely. He wasn't just looking for sexual gratification. He was looking for a performance. He made her climb into the front seat, the very seat where he had held a gun to her head, and he began to kiss and fondle her. Oh.
Now, he was trying to force a reality where this wasn't an abduction, but a date, obviously. It was a delusion he needed to maintain to satisfy his own ego, because he's not a bad guy. It's that bad guy, you guys. He wanted to feel like the powerful man who could command affection, even if that affection was bought with a 22 caliber pistol and a pair of leather shoelaces and 2 packs of cigarettes.
And for anyone watching this that thinks that is how a successful date goes, it is not. Okay? It is not.
No.
When Hansen pulled the car directly in front of the Sunrise Inn, he wasn't hiding in the shadows anymore. He parked right up against the front of the building under the glare of the motel lights.
He had a script ready. He told Patty he was going to tell the motel operator they were a couple from Fairbanks, traveling to Homer on business and just needed a few hours of rest. Now, this is the infantile personality at work again. You know, here he was playing make-believe, trying to force Patty to co-star in a facade of a normal professional life instead of the horrific things that were actually happening.
Hansen's transition from polite traveler to cold-blooded killer happened in a heartbeat. Before stepping out of the car, he issued a chilling warning. He told Patty not to move or attract attention because he could see her through the motel's large front windows. He had his eyes on her.
And then he made it her burden. He told her he'd hate to have to kill any innocent people because of her. It was a classic psychological tactic, making the victim feel responsible for the lives of others to ensure her silence. A thing he carried with him until 1983 with Cindy Paulson.
Yeah.
Literally, the guy has a playbook.
He has a playbook. Patty watched him prepare for the transaction in the lobby. He removed his glasses, the trademark of the meek baker, and pulled on a knit stocking cap, rolling the edges up. It was a crude attempt at a disguise and a way to separate Baker Bob from the man renting a room with the kidnapped woman.
And clearly, it's like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
I mean, that can't be me. Was the guy wearing glasses? Nope. Oh,
Can't be him.
Can't be like
Wasn't
this
me.
removal of eyeglasses. He is trash, Betty.
He is trash.
Trash. Now, the most terrifying part of this stop was the presence of the gun. Patty noticed it was never far from his hand, whether it was sitting on his lap, resting on the dashboard, or tucked into his belt. The .22 was a constant third passenger. He even admitted to her that if a police officer pulled them over, he wouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger. To Hansen, a policeman's life or the lives of the people inside the Sunrise Inn were just obstacles to his business trip fantasy. Remember, her dad's a state trooper.
To him, a gun is like a whoopee to some degree and to be used at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Hansen walked into the lobby and attempted to rent a room using a fake story and a stolen life. Patty sat in the car, watching him through the glass, knowing that the man with the knit cap was one heartbeat away from turning a quiet motel lobby into a crime scene. Can you imagine the stress of that and the...
Mm-mm. No, I can't. I can't at all. I mean, some people be like, well, why didn't she run?
Yeah.
Because he could kill these people. I know that he was probably bluffing. If you know anything about him, he's totally bluffing because he's a fucking pussy. But
you just said the P word.
I did say the P word. He's a coward and everything, and I hate this guy. He is what he is. He's not a man, okay? Not when you just have to use a gun to do all your work. All right. But no, I mean, he would never actually do it. He was a coward. But
he didn't have the balls to do it.
I would believe him, though. Like,
I would
that's the
believe
thing.
him too.
He literally just kidnapped you in a parking lot where people were.
Yeah.
I would not believe him. Yeah. I mean, he had the confidence, well, the show of confidence, but yeah. Yeah. So let's see, where were we here? Hansen's logistics were chillingly precise. He didn't just drag her inside. No. He went to the cabin door first, opened it, and then returned to the car to give her instructions. Get out and act normal. It was a demand for her to participate in her own kidnapping. By forcing her to walk into that room under her own power, he was testing her spirit. He wanted to see if the threat of the gun and the innocent people in the lobby had truly broken her will. Once inside, the first thing he did was command her to sit on the bed and stay there. He was establishing the boundaries of his temporary kingdom. Now, in cabin number 4, Patty was 101 miles away from the Nevada Cafe where the nightmare began. So that's very far. Like, of course, she's like, even if she ran off, where would she go? She doesn't even know where she is. She was cold. She was stripped of her clothing, and she was trapped in a tiny room with a man who was quirky one moment and homicidal the next. She was now in the most dangerous phase of the abduction, the phase where the traveling stops and the deed begins. Hansen had secured his perimeter, and now he was free to explore the depths of his own twisted psyche. It is literally in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, like it's not even, it's literally the only place for miles around. Now, Hansen's attempt to continue the facade of a normal hotel stay led to a bizarre and unsettling sequence. He agreed to let Patty bathe, but when it was his turn, the Meek Baker mask slipped into something much more voyeuristic. He went into the bathroom and ran the water, creating the sound of a bath, splashing it around to mimic a man cleaning himself. But he never actually got in. Patty, sharp and ever watchful, saw him through the crack in the door, and he was peeking at her, watching his property on the bed to ensure she wasn't planning an escape or searching for a weapon. He was a man who couldn't even wash himself without the fear that his victim might reclaim her agency. Creepy. I don't like it. Now, eventually, the games of splashing water ended, and Hansen got into the bed. It was here, in the dim light of the cabin, that Patty's professional experience became her greatest investigative tool. When she looked at Robert Hansen, she saw a physical marker that no good guy reputation would or could explain away. You arrived back just in time, Terry, to tell us why your favorite part of the whole story. Actually, I think it's one of my favorite too, to be quite honest
I
with you.
just spilled my glass of wine all over.
Oh,
When I got up, I tripped, and it's okay. It's okay.
It's probably
Merch
for the
box might have a little bit of wine splashed on them.
What's this?
Okay. Don't know how that came through. He went into the bath. Oh, she
no.
noted that he was anatomically deformed.
Mhm.
She described it as being remarkably short, but unusually large in circumference. A funny shape that was unmistakable. This was a detail that would eventually haunt Hansen. In 1971, it was a secret Patty carried out of that room. And years later, it would be the piece of evidence that made it possible for him to claim he was just, or made it impossible for him to claim he was just another face in the crowd.
Why they always got weird penises?
I don't know.
It's always that. Yeah. Yes, Betty. Yeah. Now, in Hansen's mind, this was likely a successful date. He had provided a room, a bath, and a bed. What a fucking gentleman. But for Patty, every moment was a calculation of survival. She was looking at a man who was so insecure. He had to fake taking a bath just to keep her under his thumb. She saw the deformity not just as a physical trait, but as a symbol of the twisted nature of the man himself. Shut up, Amos.
I am sorry. That is perfect. Good job, Amy.
Amos says a little teapot,
Pot
short,
short
and
and
stout. Not meaning to body shame anyone, but fuck this guy. We can body shame him.
Yeah, I'm
Specifically.
sorry. I feel nothing for him, but distaste. And yeah. After an hour of demanding more from Patty, frustrated that she wasn't providing the specific psychological reaction he craved, because it's not a date, sir, Hansen's mood soured. He woke her up with a cold, dismissive command. Get up and get dressed. You are no longer of any interest to me.
Now, this was the ultimate dehumanization. You know, he had used her, and now she was simply an object to be discarded. But before he let her go, he started the small talk, the kind of talk designed to leave a permanent scar of fear on a victim's mind. He wanted Patty to know that she wasn't his first, and that her survival was a whim of his mercy, which I believe.
Yeah. Patty's survival instincts were razor sharp. As they sat in that cabin, she listened to him talk about his past successes. Patty, he told me that he had done this before with other girls and said, I don't understand it because all the other girls had fought. He didn't say he killed any girls, but that's the way he acted. I got the impression from his talking that he had had a girl out a week ago or the weekend before, and he said she had really fought and that she was a wild one. Something he said made me think that he had been with a colored girl.
Yeah. Now, this is only the second person on record that we have. And yes, I think he's a bullshitter in a lot of ways, but I don't think that he's lying.
But he's not totally lying. I think he's embellishing
about this. I mean, he is confident as shit in
but
his
he's
plan.
Embellishing, he's maybe done 2, but he's turning it into 10. And
could be, but by now I feel like there are a lot of
other
girls, because just the confidence he exudes the whole way isn't just something. He's not a confident guy.
He's not.
So anyway, Hansen wasn't just a kidnapper. He was a hunter who was starting to compare the performance of his prey. His talk about the girls who fought back wasn't just a boast. It was a warning. He knew the Alaskan bush could swallow a person whole, leaving nothing but a cold trail that the snow would eventually bury.
By telling Patty about the others, he was ensuring that even if he let her go, she would live forever in the shadow of his power. He wanted her to know that he was the prince of the wilderness, and she was just one of the lucky ones who got to see the sunrise. Fucking jerk.
Now, I mean, a lot of people wonder, when is he being honest, when is he isn't? I feel like when he is this darkest part of himself, his true self, is when he is telling the truth.
Agreed.
To me, that's usually the case with people like this. You're like, no, that's definitely, that they're usually being 100% fucking honest with you, because that's them. Like, that's the part they never get to show,
Right.
you know? So they do kind of like get off being able to like take off all their masks and reveal their true face. So I generally tend to believe them when they're in this
Agreed.
mode. It's their ego that takes over too. I mean, anyway, so they left the cabin around 11 a.m., but instead of going to Anchorage, Hansen turned the car and headed deeper into the mountains towards Kenai. The game shifted from sexual dominance to cold-blooded survival. He spoke of another girl he'd taken to a mountain cabin, a ghost story intended to let Patty know that this terrain was his cemetery.
As they climbed the road on the other side of Kenai Lake, they encountered a snowplow. For a moment, there was a woman and a child, a glimpse of a normal world. But Hansen simply put the gun in his lap, turned around, and stopped a mile later. He sat there staring over a steep embankment in the trees and said, "I can't take you back now. You would tell on me."
At that moment, Patty was standing on the precipice. Hansen was weighing the effort of a murder against the risk of a report. Patty's only weapon was her voice. She promised him silence. She gave him her bond. It was a desperate gamble, but it actually worked. He untied her hands and turned the car back towards the city.
As they drove back, Hansen's behavior swung back into the surreal and the inane. He stopped at the Portage Cafe for pop and Hershey bars, fueling up like a teenager on a road trip. But at Frankie's Bar and Cafe, the mood turned dark again.
He didn't just want her body. He wanted her fear. He reached into her purse, an intimate violation of her private world, and found the names of her parents and her son. He wrote them down. He looked her in the eye and threatened her family. He was marking his territory, ensuring that even if she left his car, he would still own her through terror. I don't like it.
I don't like it. That is things that nightmares are made of. Then came the final absurd Bob moment. As he dropped her off near East 13th, just blocks from the Nevada Cafe, he sighed and he told her he wished they could have met under different circumstances. Sir.
Wow.
It was a pathetic attempt to recast himself as a tragic romantic instead of a man who had spent the night holding a gun to her head and threatening her.
Yeah, they met because of the circumstances he put her into when he kidnapped her.
It's not like he tried to meet her and pick her up somewhere and give her a pickup line. He stuck a gun to her.
Now, Hansen drove away, likely convinced he had successfully intimidated a working girl into silence. He forgot one thing, though. Patty wasn't just a girl from the streets. She was a daughter. The moment the door closed, Patty didn't hide. She didn't stay silent. She went to a friend's house and called the one person she knew would believe her and have the power to act. Her father, the state trooper.
Who is an
Goosebumps.
amazing dad. Giving him kudos for that. The respectable baker had just made the biggest mistake of his life. He had let a witness walk away. One who had his physical signature, his car's route, and a father who knew exactly how to hunt him back.
So Sergeant Hughes took over the interview, and he didn't want feelings. He wanted facts. He sat Patty down and ran through a checklist that was designed to catch a predator in the details. Patty, despite the trauma of the previous 24 hours, was a fortress of observation.
She told Hughes that the man called himself Tom. She described his uniform, a wool Pendleton-style shirt, and a pocket watch. She noted he was a non-smoker, a detail that made his purchase of 2 packs of Marlboros for her even more significant as a tool of manipulation. Then she hit on the physical tics that were the true signature of Robert C. Hansen.
When Hughes asked about the man's voice, Patty didn't just say he sounded nervous. She described a voice that cracked, stuttered, and gulped. This was the same social anxiety that had haunted Hansen since his school days in Iowa. Even with a gun in his hand and a woman bound in his car, he couldn't shake the physiological markers of his own inadequacy. We heard his voice. Okay.
His voice. It was, you
You're
would
like,
never
"What?"
forget that voice.
No.
Hughes then steered the questioning toward the outdoors. When Patty confirmed that Tom had talked about going hunting that weekend, the troopers knew they had their man. Robert Hansen wasn't just a hunter. He was a world-class archer. The Tom and Patty story was a mirror image of the man already in their files for the Susan Heppeard case.
And the final question from Sergeant Hughes was a practical one. Did he let you shut your car engine off? Now, in an Alaskan winter, leaving a car running for hours is a death sentence for the engine and the gas tank.
I learned that.
Yes. Patty confirmed she hadn't been allowed to turn it off. But when she finally returned to the Nevada Cafe after her ordeal, the engine was quiet. A friend had seen the idling car, turned it off to save the gas, and left a note.
That one small mundane act of kindness was the only reason Patty had a functioning vehicle to drive to her friend's house. It was the bridge that allowed her to get to a phone and call her father. Without them turning a key, Patty might have been stranded in the cold once again.
Could you imagine?
That one little act, just one little thing.
Right? But like showing up and your car's out of gas and you're like, you mother.
I can't get anywhere. Yeah.
Like what? Now, the police didn't make it easy for Patty. No, they presented her with a 6-pack, not the kind you think, of 5 black and white photos of men who all shared Hansen's general features. Horn-rimmed glasses, similar age, similar builds. But without a second of hesitation, she pointed directly at Robert C. Hansen. They do all look quite alike. Hold on. Can you go back for a second, Ames? Because I didn't have time to look at. Okay.
I mean, I know which one it is without a doubt.
Right.
Yeah. But no,
okay.
they did a good job. They did a good job because that was all manual back in the day. There wasn't a computer that did it for them. They did a good job.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, to be absolutely sure, they brought out the big book. 60 color photos of known offenders and persons of interest. Again, Patty flipped through the pages until she reached the very last one. Her reaction was visceral. She didn't just point. She was adamant. That was the man.
Now, in 1971, this should have been the end, right?
It should have.
Right?
What more do they freaking need?
Right? The police had a positive ID from a witness who had spent hours with the suspect, survived an assault, and noted his distinct physical deformities. And Patty Roberts knew exactly what the world thought of her profession, and she didn't care. She looked the investigators in the eye and delivered a prophecy that should have changed everything. Quote, I'm here because that Robert Hansen guy is probably a premeditated, cold-blooded killer, she told them.
She wasn't guessing. She had sat in that car and listened to him talk about the wild ones who fought back. She had felt the coldness of a man who could buy Hershey bars and threaten to murder a baby in the same hour. She saw the connection that the by-the-book detectives were missing. She was convinced he had already killed. And she explicitly linked him to the high-profile disappearance and death of Beth Van Zanten.
Mm-hmm. Look at that, doing the cop's job. God, it's so hard. Now, the most infuriating discovery for the troopers was Hansen's current legal status. When he kidnapped Patty, he wasn't a clean citizen. He was already out on his own recognizance for the assault on the real estate secretary just a month earlier. Because don't worry, guys, he wasn't a danger to the public. You know, he tried to kidnap somebody with a gun. But sure, Jan, okay.
The system had looked at the respectable baker, the married man with a business, and decided he wasn't a flight risk or a danger to the community. Hello, he attacked someone. What more clues do you need? But anyway, while he was awaiting trial for one crime, he was already out scouting for his next victim at the Nevada club.
Right? No deterrence.
Mm-mm.
Patty knew that the police let him slip through their fingers again. Her life and the lives of other young women on the 4th Avenue Strip were forfeit. Quote, I believe he'll kill me too, she warned. She recognized the butcher behind the baker long before the rest of Alaska did.
Patty Roberts had done everything right. She had survived, she had observed, and she had identified the monster. She had given the police the motive and the link to a murder case. But Robert Hansen still had his most successful, powerful weapon. His reputation as a hardworking, stuttering, meek member of the Anchorage business community. I'm sorry, you're a baker, for God's sake.
Right? Now, next time on True Crime and Crime Time's Frozen Fear, the Butcher Baker of Alaska series, the identification was positive. The evidence was overwhelming. The predator had a name, Robert C. Hansen. But in our next episode, the investigation takes a turn that will leave you questioning the very foundations of the justice system. We will witness the moment the meek baker is finally cornered by the troopers, only to watch as he deploys his most effective weapon, the mask of normalcy.
I'm going to just go on the record, Alaska. I'm already questioning you. Sorry, I don't think your justice system was working. Coming up in episode 3, we will focus on the interrogation, where we will watch as Hansen uses his stutter and his gentle persona to manipulate investigators, playing the part of a misunderstood family man. No, guy, you're a fucking piece of shit. Sorry.
We'll go inside the courtroom where Patty Roberts' brave testimony meets the cold reality of 1971 legal biases. We'll discover how a strategic plea deal and a sympathetic psychiatric evaluation allowed a man suspected of abduction and murder to walk with a sentence that defies logic. And it does. You guys will
You
not
will
believe that.
think it was. You will think it's a lie. It defies that much. When I saw the research and stuff, I had to go check. I'm like, this can't be true. This is bullshit. Somewhere ChatGPT gave us this or something. But no,
What?
it's true. It's true. In the
No.
chilling moment, the cell door opens far too soon, and Robert Hansen returns to the streets of Anchorage. Not cured, but evolved. The system didn't just fail Patty Roberts, it gave Robert Hansen a masterclass in how to get away with murder. And yes, something is amiss in Alaska.
Yes, Betty. I'm coming with vodka next week.
I'm like, screw this. And now that my office smells like wine and I'm all sticky, I'm going straight for the vodka.
I'm going to get me a big old bottle of Sveda vodka or Svita. I don't know how you say it, but it's delicious. Svita. I don't know. You're going to need it. You're going to need it, everybody.
Next week is
it's infuriating.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's on a Tuesday.
Why don't you go with your closing thoughts first, Terry?
My closing thoughts is part of me wants to really hate you.
Okay.
For wanting to do this case because I knew the case. But you're absolutely right because the fact that all this information hasn't been covered and isn't widely out there is just as bad as what Alaska let Robert Hansen get away with. It has literally, to the most part, been swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And that is disturbing to me. And it makes me worry about what else and who else has gotten away with shit.
You just wait. You just wait. We still have like 7 more episodes to go, and it does not get better, friends. It does not get better. It doesn't. You're like, how can it get worse? I don't know. Yes.
Oh, it gets worse.
Lady in Gray said 1 episode was not enough for this. It's disgusting. Yes, Lady in Gray helps do the first episode where it was just the whole story. And then I was like, yeah, so.
And I mean, I live in Texas. So Texas is a really big death penalty state. God, why didn't he do this shit in Texas? Because they would have already fried his ass.
Right. Well, is that your closing thoughts?
That's my closing thoughts.
Okay. Well, I just want to say Patty Roberts, put her in the hero category. So far, it's Cindy Paulson. Well, that would be 10 years later, but whatever. She's on the list first. Cindy, Officer Greg Baker, and Patty Roberts, and Susan Heppeard, too. We'll put her there. Yeah. Because she was helpful, too, in identifying him in the first place. So there's our list of good people in the story, the heroes. And then the growing list that we will see the people that suck. Now, we like to believe that the truth is a solid thing, that once it's spoken, it becomes an unshakable force, right? Patty Roberts gave the world the truth. All right. She didn't just survive it. She brought back a blueprint of a monster and everything that encompassed that. I can't think of a better witness.
I know.
Ever.
She wasn't intoxicated. She wasn't under the influence of drugs. I mean, she nailed it. Yes. She is what most officers would dream of for a witness.
Yes. She gave the police the name. She gave them the weapon. She even gave them the warning that this was only the beginning. She stood in that interrogation room and told them with the clarity of someone who had seen death's face that Robert Hansen was a killer who had already tasted blood. And I believe her. But in 1971, the truth was competing with a more comfortable lie, right? Yeah. The lie was that a man who bakes bread for your children, and a man who wins trophies for his skill with a bow, and a man who stutters and shrinks into himself being a little meat baker can't possibly be the same man who ties knots with leather shoelaces in the dark. And in that moment of choice, the system flinched. And we're going to really see how much it did not want to see this being
It didn't.
real.
It had blinders on, and denial was definitely their river in Egypt. They were on it.
Now, it's easy to look back and point at the mistakes. Sure. Okay. But I don't think this is no like armchair quarterbacking over here. This is pretty freaking obvious.
This
Everybody's
is
told you so,
obvious shit.
right? But the real tragedy of Patty Roberts isn't just what happened to her in the car. And not just her. All the people before, after, even Cindy. It's the silence that followed. It's the way the system took her courage and filed it away in a drawer, allowing a predator to realize something far more dangerous than his own dark urges. Because he realized, he was invisible. Now, where would he have gotten to that conclusion? Hansen learned that if he kept his apron clean and his voice low, the world would ignore the screams of the wilderness. He didn't just walk away from Patty Roberts. He walked away with permission to slip to keep hunting. We have to wonder how many lives are lost, not because we don't know the truth, but because we aren't brave enough to believe it. Because that's what happened here. People were not brave enough to believe Patty.
That is a horrible thought as we close out to get ready for bed.
Yes.
How many more? Because people aren't believing the truth. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole thing with missing people, murdered. Oh, well, they deserved it. They did something. Don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me started.
Right? People are always like, oh, well, he couldn't have possibly did it. He was just our neighbor. He's such a good guy. Have you ever read a case ever? They're all the same. They're all normal guys.
They're all
Most of them.
normal guys. I mean, the majority. But
the worst of the worst are in your neighborhood with wives and kids doing whatever.
Because I would tell you, I would rather have dinner with a sex worker than with him.
Cheers to that.
Or any other respectable businessman at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
okay, let's do a few quick promos. And
before we go, if you like all of the rants and the cursey words that you heard tonight,
next week is going to be fire, you guys.
Next week is
it's gonna be
I'm gonna have to eat a full meal before we go live because I can't wait till after to have dinner because it's a rough one.
Mm-hmm.
But be sure to follow all of our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel because guess what, guys? It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're listening on our podcast, please download and give us a rating. Or if you want to see all of the chaos and get the story 2 weeks earlier, come on over to our YouTube channel. Okay.
Right.
All of this helps us tremendously in getting our channel out there.
That it does. And now we'll be back with part 3 of our Frozen Fear, the Butcher Baker of Alaska series, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's right. You're getting more of us next week. That's right. We'll be back here on Tuesday.
Someone did not listen to what they were told.
Looks like Llama's getting your Luke Bryant ticket. I'm just kidding. But so make sure if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live, because you do not want to miss any of the upcoming episodes of this for sure. You can also join us tomorrow because listen, we talk about a lot of heavy stuff on this channel, our YouTube channel, all of the time. Heavy stuff. Well, tomorrow you can unwind with us on our public show, Too Much Internet. That's right. It's our first Friday of the month and it's public. Normally this is a members only show, but first Friday is fun day. So you can join us tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern with myself, the lovely Amos, the lovely lady in gray, where we just sit back, laugh at the funny shit on the internet. Okay. We don't have to get on angry rants
I
or
know.
anything. It's a good time because you have to be able to
Yeah.
laugh. So please join us for that tomorrow.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. I'm
All
sad
right.
I won't be there with you guys.
I know, but that's okay.
But no, we really appreciate you guys all being here. But please do me a favor. Besides just staying safe, and if you see something, say something, do not let people's reputations and your perceived thoughts determine who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Because people hide. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
That they do.
So think about it. And if your gut tells you something's off, I'm going to tell you to trust your gut.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well done. Well, you guys, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to Tuesday for us to talk more about this because unless it's Laura Owens. I know I was going to say that. But I was like,
a
no.
whole nother, that's a whole
Her
other thing. Her reputation is correct. Not the reputation of her mind, though.
That's true. No, thank you all for being with us tonight. Until next time, go forth and be amazing. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.